Hi, I'm Reverend Ron, and it's Friday, March the 19th, and this is today's Rooted Reflection. Charlie, our nearly 2-year-old granddaughter, like lots of kids her age, before she could say words, started to say animal sounds, of course. And you know, she's gone through that whole repertoire. Her repertoire has expanded, by the way, over the last several months. But you know, there were the predictable ones. So what does a cow say? And moo. And what does a horse say? And neigh. And a dog and a cat, they always make that early list. But one of the very first ones that she learned, and she would say it over and over and over, was, what does a sheep say? Or what does a lamb say? And she'd say, bah, and she loves to say that, and loves the song, Ba Ba Black Sheep, and all of that. And so today I was looking to find one of her little Beanie Babies that we've resurrected for her, and I know that she has little sheep, but instead, there on my counter waiting for me was this, a little lamb. Holly had bought it for our next door neighbors. They have a new puppy next door, an adorable little golden cocker called Archie, and this is eventually going to go to Archie. But for right now, it is here to remind me about Charlie saying bah, one of the first animal sounds she learned, and also for us to think about probably one of the first Psalms that we all learned, the 23rd Psalm. The 23rd Psalm is used in so many different ways, and both personally and communally. Communally, we often say that psalm together at a memorial service. It's a psalm that some of us had to memorize when we were in confirmation class. I know that I did when I was a 13-year-old. And it's a psalm that many of us have taken into our hearts somewhere along our spiritual journey. It's one of those psalms that sticks with us, even though we don't live in this agrarian world anymore, but somehow this idea of God being like a shepherd to us, and God tending a flock, and us being part of God's flock is a really, really important thing. Especially as we're moving through the season in the desert together, and in the season when we are recalling what it means to be parched, and sometimes to feel in a desolate place, and sometimes to not be sure where our next steps are going to take us. The part of the psalm that speaks powerfully to us is not just about this God who's going to lead us by still waters, right? But today's reflection in our devotional book talks about that other phrase. This is a God who walks with us through the valley of the shadow of death. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. For you are with me. Friends, that is great news, isn't it? To know that even in the valley of the shadow of death, even when we feel like we are cut off from any sign of life, when we are tired, exhausted, emotionally spent, when we in fact are going through death or a loss in our own lives, when we have to say goodbye to a mother or a father or a good friend, especially during this strange time of COVID when some of us have had to do that, even in the valley of the shadow of death, you're going to be there for us, God. That's good news. I love the way that our devotional puts it and reflects on that part of the psalm. Even on the darkest nights and even in seasons of death and loss, God is with us. God is with us in a doctor's office and in therapy sessions. God is with us in miscarriages and failed marriages. God is with us when the news feels too hard to hear, and that's a lot of days, right? And in grief that feels too heavy to carry. No matter where we go, no matter what wilderness we find, God is with us. I truly believe that. However, for the days when that road gets hard, I will carry these words from Psalm 23 close. Friends, I hope you'll remember to carry these words close. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, even there, you will sustain me. May you know the presence of God wherever you are in your life. If you're celebrating, if you're sad, if you can see 10 steps ahead of you or only one, know that God is with you. Thanks be to God. Amen.